Well, we're living in a time now where you can't just play anything you want. I think Mark Zuckerberg shut me down there for a second. Guys, tell me if you can see me, if you can hear me, because, you know, right. Again, okay, let's, guys, let me reiterate, let me get back to it. Everybody knows that Lusaka City Council, in conjunction with the council police, have been going through certain parts of the CBD, and they are actively removing these phone booths. We call them phone booths, Airtel, MTN, Zamtel phone booths in certain spots within the CBD. Now, it's important to understand and also to point out that there are many spots within the CBD that have no business having booths there. There are many buildings within the central business district that have been hampered. Buildings have been blocked. Corridors have been jammed because these phone booths are literally an eyesore, and they are jam-packed in the hallways and the walkways, on the sidewalks, to the point where they block other businesses, and it's not fair. Now, also, let's be clear, this is a throwback. This comes from the PF era, where during the Patriotic Front, phone booths were the preserve of cadres. PF cadres were the ones in control of phone booths. In those days, during the tyrannical reign of the PF, it was only cadres who had a say in where a phone booth would be installed, because it was the cadres that benefited directly from the phone booths. They would charge 5,000 kwacha per booth for you to place your booth on the side of the street. You would have to pay 5,000 kwacha to cadres. And of course, after the cadres left, after NPF left, after the notorious Patriotic Front was unceremoniously booted out of office, the new administration, the UPND, are trying to bring some semblance, some type of order and semblance to the CBD. Now, one of the things that they are trying to do is get rid of booths systematically, because if you look at the CBD, there are too many booths and they're everywhere. They are placed unequally. I mean, a tall booth is next to a short booth, and a painted booth is next to a rusty booth, and a rusty booth is next to a booth that only has what do you call that? Red oxide on it. It's a mess. There is no order within the CBD, and I think the Lusaka City Council, with this new effort and this new push of coming into the CBD and getting rid of these booths, is a step in the right direction. Now, here's the thing, guys. This has to be done because if you allow the proliferation of booths, if you allow the uncontrolled spreading of booths, if you allow the unregulated growth and increase of these phone booths, what we're going to end up having is a CBD that is unsightly. Unsightly. I can't tell you how many businesses that I speak to, how many business owners within the CBD, people that own buildings. And when I say buildings, I'm talking about brick and mortar, people that pay council rates, people that pay water, electricity, people that have employees. Their businesses are being blocked by these booths because during the PF, the PF cutters would bring their booths and place them right smack dab in the middle of someone's building. And the poor guy, the guy who owns the building, couldn't say anything because the PF would threaten them, would say, no, you're just this, that, and the other. Even if we put the booths in front of your building, so what? We are empowering our youth. That's wrong. You can't empower youth in the name of disorder. You cannot say we are giving our youth employment at the expense of the functionality of the city, number one. Number two, at the expense of other business owners who pay their fair share in this economy by owning buildings in the CBD, buildings that pay rates, buildings that pay ground rates, buildings that pay water, electricity, buildings that pay employees. You cannot disenfranchise them because under the guise of youth empowerment. That's not fair. There has to be a different way. There has to be a better way. On the one hand, you're saying, where are all these young entrepreneurs going to find themselves if we remove all the booths? Well, that's something you have to think about. As the local authority, as the council, you can't sit on your behinds, you can't sit on your blessed assurances, folding your arms in your air-conditioned offices while the city is going to hell in a handbasket, and while the city is drowning in disorder, while the city is drowning in chaos, while people are doing whatever they want to do. Street vending is proliferating. The CBD is filthy. We are drowning in filth. We're drowning in garbage. And then add to that, we're drowning in the chaotic display and installation of these booths all around the CBD. And then you sit there and say, well, it's youth empowerment. No, it shouldn't be that way. You need to rethink all of that. You need to come up with a better plan. Right now, the formula is simply not working. I must tell you that. Now, I'm going to ask you, I know it's a blurry picture. I'm going to ask you guys to please give me a call. I want to hear what you have to say against the backdrop of what I've shared with you. This is my number. Call me. Please call me only on WhatsApp. Okay? Only on WhatsApp. I'm going to put this on here. Just give me a second. Only on WhatsApp. Only on WhatsApp. 491-621. 096-491-621. That's it. Is that it? Do we have it? Call me on that number. I really want to hear what you have to say on this against the backdrop of what I've talked about. Now, remember, keep in mind that if we allow the proliferation of booths, the proliferation means the spreading, the growth. You know, for example, if last month we had 10 booths and then this month we have 50 booths, imagine what the CBD will look like 10 years from now if we allow this sort of proliferation to continue. Now, to be fair, we know that in the next 2 or 3 years, the services that we get from these booths are going to be obsolete in about 2 to 3 years. We know that because, you know, with the advancement, technology moves so quickly. There's coming a time, believe it or not, there's coming a time in Zambia very soon where these booths, there will be null and void. We won't need booths because everything will be done on our phones. So I want to hear, what do you think the solution is? And please, somebody says too blurry. I know the view is blurry. I know it's the internet. Guys, the important thing is that you can hear me. Can you not hear me? And if you do call, you will be able to hear me. Okay. Now, guys, please don't call and just say things like, no, but what about the youth? Where are they going to go? You're missing the point. the point is not about the youth and where they're going to go. The point is the functionality of the city. Is the city functioning? Because you see, disorder breeds chaos. And if you're going to turn a blind eye to the uncontrolled, unregulated proliferation of phone booths within the CBD, if you're going to turn a blind eye with that issue, do you know what that means? It means you're going to turn a blind eye to every other issue that affects the CBD. So in other words, it's not just going to stop here. It's not just going to stop at booths. This affects everything else. It's going to spill over into the issue of street vending. It's going to spill over into the issue of bus drivers and whether or not they are licensed drivers. It's going to spill into the issue of the fitness and the functionality of public transportation. It affects everything. My point is, if you're going to be relaxed on the issue of booths, what that means is you're going to be relaxed on everything else that affects the CD. I want to hear from you. I need to hear from you. Give me a call on that number if you can see that. Now, call me only on WhatsApp. Do not call on a regular line. I really want to hear what you have to say, because this is something that we really have to begin to have a conversation about and to find lasting solutions. I believe the solution, I've given you the solution. I believe the solution is you get rid of all the street vendors, and then each street has to have a standard type of booth, and each street has to have a quota of booths. For instance, if you have a street that is 3 kilometers, that street can only have maybe 3 or 4 booths. And they have to be equally and evenly spaced. In other words, you can't put a booth here and then squeeze another booth right next to it and then spread out another booth 50 feet down the road. No, it has to be neatly spread, neatly installed, and there has to be a standard type of booth. You can't just wake up and get a makeshift steel tin, weld it, throw some paint on it, and then throw it on a little piece of slab of concrete. No, there has to be a standard, and that standard has to be led by the Lusaka City Council. It shouldn't be the way it used to be in the PF, where the council gave you the permit and the service provider, MTN, Zamtel, Airtel, they give you the license, and then it's up to you now to go looking for a spot in the street. And then the moment you identify a spot, you are approached by a kada who says to you, ngorefo kubika booth yobeapa, kumpera 2 pin or 5 pin. That's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. Lusaka City Council should be involved from the very beginning, all the way through the middle, up until the end of the transaction. Lusaka City Council should be the ones to say, we can allow a booth here, but we can't allow a booth there. Lusaka City Council should be able to do that. Not some kada, not party kadas. Party kadas who are handling public money. No, that one we disagree completely. That is completely out. We don't want such nonsense. Are you guys going to call or no? Are you calling? I need to hear from you. Imwe, wala to my phone because I want to hear your views. I want to hear what you think the solution should be. Okay? So here it is. Chris Topper says, sir, kindly visit City Council and render the advice. Watching from Charleston. Well, thank you. Okay. Vincent says, to my opinion, is the population too much and it's very difficult to control? Well, you have to start from somewhere. That's a defeatist mentality. If you adopt that mentality, You're not going to get very far. Hello?
Hi, Mr. Moyle. Good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, sir. I can hear you.
Sir, kindly visit City Council, Brenda, watching Chelsea. Thanks.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Vincent says, in my opinion, population is too much. Very difficult. Well, you have.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello, guys. Please call me on WhatsApp only. I gotta shut down that music because Zuckerberg gonna clamp down on me, you know. So here's okay. Uh, we were Joseph Chishimba's watching us from Birmingham. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. And then Othello Romeo says it's already unsightly. Yeah, I know the picture quality is not so good. Forgive that. That's an internet issue. So please give me a call on this number. I want to hear your opinion on this issue. Hello.
And then Othello wrote.
I can hear you.
Hello, good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you.
Hope you're well. I'm calling from the UK. This
From
is Mozambique, Potway.
Wonderful. Please go ahead.
Well, actually, SML, I completely agree with your suggestions. I do think that the booths need to be removed and slightly they need to be removed basically, and it's irrelevant with regards to what we expect the youth, as we call them, are going to do once they're removed. I mean, I remember in the 90s, I don't remember any booths, and the youth had work. I don't remember any booths being scattered along any of the main roads. And I certainly, to add to that, I certainly think that the Airtels and the Zamtels or whoever own those booths, they need to pay some sort of ground rent to go towards the upkeep of those booths. And secondly, it shouldn't be a cash society, because if you're giving someone money in their hand, chances are they're going to spend it. So it needs to go through the system. That money needs to go back to the Zambian people, not into someone's pocket.
Absolutely.
That's my view.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. I agree with that. I agree with that, because if you get stuck, if you're stuck in the conversation of, no, where are the youth going to go? Where are they? Where are we going to take them? When you get stuck in that conversation, you're ignoring the functionality of the city. Because if you let that slide, if you let uncontrolled, unregulated proliferation of booths, if you let that slide, it means you let everything else slide. It means you let street vending, uncontrolled, unfettered, unregulated street vending to spread. It means you won't pay so much attention to the qualification of bus drivers and how they conduct themselves. It means you won't pay attention to the fitness of a vehicle, a bus that transports people. What it does, folks, is that it causes you to compromise on many, many different levels. If you let this slide, it means you let everything else slide. But if you are strong and if you are firm about the functionality of the city, then the city has a chance. It does. All right. Well, I thought I'd share that with you guys, and thank you for that call from the UK. I appreciate that so very much. I know my picture's blurry, but at least the sound, you can hear the sound. Can you not? Thank you so much. Let me read a couple of more of your comments, and then I'm going to shut it down. I've already read that one. Okay. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for participating. Let's do one more call here. Hello.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Now here, guys, let me when I answer the phone. Hey guy, hello. I can hear you. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Moyowa.
Good afternoon, sir. Go ahead.
Now here, guys, let me when I answer the phone.
Oh, sorry. There's a bit of a delay there. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out the phone service thing on my Rodecaster Pro. Okay. Well, guys, thanks for listening. I really appreciate that. Let's get behind Lusaka City Council on this issue. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Moewa. This is Bo Allen from the UK.
Bo Allen. I'm so happy to hear from you, Bo. How are you, Bo?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I'm so happy to hear from you. Go ahead, Bo.
Thank you. But Moewa, I won't shop with you because that's just me. Yes, I do apologize for those that don't understand them, but I'll just carry on and mix and match it.
Sure.
I agree with the previous caller, and my focus is on the youth, really, more than the booths themselves, but it's all in one thing. So what I'm trying to say is, why, like you rightly said, we can't keep dwelling on the fact that people are saying, where are the youth going to go if we don't have the booth? There are so many things the youths can do. Back in the Kaunda days, there was the back to the land. You know, it was encouraging farming and all these different things that the youth could do. Why can't we broaden our horizon and say, we can do this, we can do manufacturing, we can do, there are so many things the youth can do. It's not just the booths. So personally, I feel the booths are an eyesore, and yes, tax the hell out of them if it's possible. However, at the same time, find other things for the youth to do.
I agree, Bo. I agree, Bo. And but Bo, let me add to that. Bo, do you realize? I mean, you live in England, do you not?
Yeah.
Now, do you realize in the next 2 or 3 years in Zambia, booths are going to be obsolete? So, which raises the question then, because you know there's coming a time very soon where everything will be on our phones. I mean, that's if we still have phones. I mean, we'll probably have wearables or something. But in the next 3 or 4 years, you know, booths we won't be using booths the way we've been using them. Which brings the question then, if that is the case, and that is the case, what are youth going to do 4 or 5 years from now when there are no booths? Are you saying they will not, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mr. Moewa, the process has already started. We can see the taxis. Let's take the taxis, for example. The taxis, you can summon a taxi on your phone. You don't necessarily have to go out into the road, flag a taxi down to take you wherever you want to go. It's already happening. The change has come. Digital age, this is what they call the digital age. So, you know, I'm not trying to compare apples and oranges, but what I'm trying to say is, in the UK, you get on a bus, you're going to pay with your watch or you're going to pay with your phone. We use we use cards, yes, bank cards and things like that, but cash, not so much. Slowly fizzling out, it's going away, but obviously because of the law, we still use cash wherever we can. But yes, the wearables have come in. So you can talk on your phone, you can pay with your phone, you can summon a taxi on your phone. It's all about moving ahead with the times. The booths will not be there. You will be paying for things online, getting things delivered online. I think it's a process. So it might take longer, with the third world countries, but it might take a bit longer. But the fact is, it doesn't mean that if to get to that point, doesn't mean that you have to live in squalor and dirt and boots and shiny. It's the government of the day that needs to be, proactive. Be proactive. Don't be reactive to a situation.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
That's what it is.
I agree with you, Bo. And Bo, I must tell you, we are in this, I don't know when you were last here in Zambia, but I must tell you, Bo, we are living, especially in the CBD, we are drowning in filth. We are drowning in squalor. We have a situation where street vending is completely uncontrolled, and the reason it exists is because these cadres, these politically aligned cadres, it's in their interest to have street vending because they have access to that money, okay, to that hard cold cash.
I always see your videos, and I think, oh my gosh, I was last there in 2019. Because of the dirt, I did not want to come that far. Now, Ibex Hill, and I'd go to certain places where I felt it was manageable for me. It's not like, some of us, it's not that, but it's just that if
I know what you mean.
Too much.
I know what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Hey, Bo, thank you so much for that contribution. I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Mr. Mwewa. Thank you for giving me time on your lovely platform. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bo. Bless you.
Bye.
Bye-bye now. That's Bo Allen, y'all. Bo Allen is a regular here on SML TV. Her and many other people. Thank you for that. Guys, so basically that's the gist of it. That's about the size of it. And thank you for watching. I'm so sorry that sometimes the internet is not so clear. The picture quality is not always clear. But I wanted you guys to know that this exercise, Lusaka City Council has launched an exercise where they're removing booths within the CBD. And the trouble with that, because I've seen it before, oftentimes Lusaka City Council starts a project, they start an exercise, but the problem is they don't follow through. They don't. And somehow our people know that. Our people know because there is no consistency. This afternoon, I walked through town. I walked through the CBD. I could see certain spots. For example, this unfinished building that had the crane, the big crane. Lusaka City Council was removing the booths that are lined around the building that had that crane. But here's the thing. They'll do that today. 2 months from now, if somebody decides to install a booth there, the council's not going to do anything because they're worried about the rest of the city. I mean, yes, I understand. Lusaka is a huge city, okay? But Lusaka City Council really needs to just get a hold of this thing. Be consistent. In my view, they have enough foot soldiers to do the work that needs to be done here in the CBD. Lusaka City Council has thousands of council police workers, thousands. Put them to use. Put those boots on the ground. Make them work. Make sure that the CBD is functioning. Make sure that the booths are not arbitrarily placed anywhere the cadres want, in front of people's buildings. I mean, the most amazing thing during the PF was the PF cadres would bring booths in front of your building. And if you complained about it, they threatened you. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Mwewa.
A very good afternoon to you, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
That's good, sir. I'm Abednego. You will see my comments from the live video.
Okay.
I also wanted to contribute over the issue that's being discussed. Being a Zambian as well, I have these feelings that we normally have, the reactions that most of us do have towards any project that's been conducted by the council or the government officials or whatnot. We've seen reactions from people talking about them not engaging, not informing the guys that operate in the booth without, before they demolished them, they did not talk to them and all that.
Yeah,
But
they always say that. They always say, no, you didn't tell us, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but what we forget to think about is how is it affecting us? For example, when the government decides to build a road, let's say a dual carriageway road, and then half of that road is taken up by street vendors or these boats, then what's the point of building the dual carriageway? If the entire road is going to be taken up, when you come down, you'll find that there's no space. The space that's there, that's been left, is for only one lane. And cars have to actually wait for one to pass. But then the road is big enough for two cars to pass. And then the other part of the road has been taken by Ama street vendors and Ama booths. So I feel when this thing is left unattended to, it's cover magic. What in Mumbai Koyindi.
Yeah,
So
Changanya.
I think
Confusion.
the council is in the right direction. Confusion, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Confusion everywhere. And then these people that play Sama booth, they don't consult the council in the first place. I don't see the reason why they want to be contacted and talked to before they are moved, when in the first place they place those booths without the consent of the council.
Yes. Yes. And do you know who places the booths there? It's cadres.
Cadres.
Political
Yes.
cadres tell them, oh, kupika booth uibiki hapa. But ili wala leta booth hapa, ine wala mpela kuve tupin.
It's also
See that?
and another thing that we've not paid attention to is you find that most of these boats are owned by one person. You find that one person owns about 5 boats.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad you brought that up. I always forget to bring that up. That is a very important point. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you find that umuntu violates the benefit to this disorderliness. One person has 5 booths and then has about 3 people working for him, and these 2 other booths are not operating. They are closed because he's still looking for people to work there. And
But-
when we say no, we need to move them out away. You're supposed to talk to us and all that stuff. It's just drawing us back, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with
and
you.
That's what I wanted to contribute.
Thank you so much, son.
Tama.
Thank you, son.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Cheers. That's the other point, and I'm so glad he brought it up. Guys, there's a syndicate of booth owners in the CBD. Oftentimes you see a line of booths, for example, there are 10 of them, owned by one guy. 4 of them are operational. The other 6 are closed, but they're taking up space. Valuable space in the CBD. How do you have 6 booths that are occupying a sidewalk? First of all, they shouldn't even be there, in my view. You can't have booths just anywhere you want, okay? So here it is. You've got 4 booths that are operational. There are 10 altogether. 6 are not working. They're just sitting there because the guy that owns the booths is looking for a girl or a guy to operate from those booths. Chaos, mate. There's a syndicate. There's an underground syndicate. Not only do you have the layer of the cadres who benefit directly from the installation of these booths, but you've got this undercurrent of underhand dealing where one guy owns 10 booths. Guys, here on Simon Moore Lane, Muke, the guy that used to run the PF syndicate here, he ran more than 50 booths, and the booths were placed on the road, not even on the sidewalk. Pamusebo, on the road, on one of the lanes. Unbelievable. Hello.
4 of them are operational.
Hi there.
Hello, Mr. Moore.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
A very good afternoon. Please go ahead, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. I know there's a lot of debate going on in regard to where the youth are supposed to go. One of my suggestions, I think I wrote in the comments, is I think in the past there used to be a time when those school leavers are done with school, they'll be taken for training under ZNS. And I feel like if that kind of arrangement could be introduced again, so that ZNS has so much manpower, and ZNS can be used as a tool to construct our roads and all these other projects that the government has going on. It can help so much, other than just contracting private sector companies to come and do the construction of roads and everything that we need in Zambia.
Great idea.
Yeah, so that was my thought. I thought I should weigh in on that.
Thank you so much. Great idea. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Well, hey, guys, I'm going to close it here. I have to go. What time is it? It's almost 6 p.m. Hope you guys are having a good holiday. But please, let's get behind this. Let's get behind this. Let's desire a more functional city. Let's desire that. Let's desire our roads to work. I mean, what's the point of having a feeder road, but it's full of street vendors? Let's push for the street vendors to go into the markets, because in the markets, they have access to clean water. In the markets, they have shelter. In the markets, they pay their fair share in terms of the stipend they pay to the Lusaka City Council in terms of rates and rent. In the markets, the council, the local authority generates an income. In the markets, after that income is realized, that's the same income that we will use to fix the roads and the lights and the pavers and the sidewalks. Let's get behind a functional city. Let's not just throw our arms in the air and say, no, chive. Let everybody do the way they want it done. Let them. After all, it is their right, and just leave them all. Can we not do that? Can we desire a better functioning city? Can we desire that? And guys, it's not too much to ask. I mean, here it is. You've got sidewalks. Do you know? I'm a bala. You know the balas? You know the wheelbarrows? 90% of the wheelbarrows in the CBD use the main road instead of using the sidewalk. Why? Because the sidewalks are full of street vendors. So if you've got 150 balas that are being used on the road, the main road, do you know that that contributes to the slowing down of traffic? What that means then is people cannot get to where they're going as quickly as possible. It means it'll take people 3, 4, 5 times longer than normal. But if you had a clear road, if you had clear sidewalks that people use, instead of walking on the main road, they use the sidewalk, because when you have a clear sidewalk that is void, that is empty of street vendors. Why? Because the vendors, we've moved them into the markets where they belong, because that's where they belong. Okay, let's be clear about that. If we remove all the vendors, put them in the markets, it means the sidewalks are free, they're open. It means the people with the balas, the people that are walking, the pedestrians, they have a way of getting to where they're going because they're using the sidewalk. And what that means then is that the cars on the street get to where they're going quicker. Do you see that line of logic? Do you see that logic? To me, it's very simple. There's no rocket science there, guys. Okay? You must know that. You must know that. There is no rocket science there. But you know, in Zambia, no, just to do it the way you want it done, you know. Tapari wala kusosha, kaya nga bakusosha na nshwa mtu warufianya. Nomba inenga mwantamfya pano nalakwisa. That is manipulation. That is manipulation, and we should get rid of that. And let me hasten to add, and I'll close with this. This is my last. I'm going to close with this. This government has a very short window of time to fix the CBD. While Gary Nkombo, the mayor of Lusaka, Bachitangala, you guys basically, you only have 2 years. Once we go past the 2.5 mark, you can't do anything. It turns political. So if you're going to clean the streets, do it now. If you're going to clear the streets of vendors and put them in the markets, do it now. If you're going to get rid of arbitrary booths and introduce a system that functions, where the solution is every street has to have a quota of booths. If a street is 2 kilometers, you say, okay, this street can only have booths in 4 spots. And those 4 spots, they cannot inconvenience an established building, a building built with bricks and mortar. They can't be in the way. They cannot obstruct foot traffic. They have to be strategically placed. And then there has to be a standard of booth. You can't just bring any little rusty tin and throw it in the middle of, in front of Bank of Zambia and say, no, fagani booth yapo. No, everything has to be streamlined. And let me warn the current administration, in as far as the city is concerned, as far as the functionality of the city is concerned, you only have 2 years. If you don't do it within these 2 years, you will never do it. You know why? Because after 2 years, as we go towards the elections, everything becomes political. Everything becomes political. My people, are you kidding? They will look at you and say, oh, mufuna kutichosa. Kansi muzadapwa. So time to do that is now. Do it now. And guys, here's the thing. Here's the most exciting thing about this. And oh, I'm so thrilled about this. I have to share this with you. Do you know that when you present a better city, do you know that if you, and this is something that we need a benevolent heavy hand. We can't do patty cake, baker man anymore. We can't hold hands and sing kumbaya and say we're going to go to heaven and all that. You have to be tough. You have to be firm. You have to say, move from the streets now. And this is how to do it. Once you do that, and then people begin to see the functionality of the city, people begin to see the roads are cleaner, the streets are cleaner, the filter lanes are working, traffic is moving much better, and the sidewalks are being used for what they were designed for. Guess what happens? The same people, the same electorate, because guys, let's not forget, we vote too, everybody votes. The same electorate will turn around and say, you know what? This is a much better way. Why were we used to that chaos? This is prettier. This is much better. I love this better than the chaos. When you do that, people recognize it and they'll keep you in office. They will. But if you have a hands-off approach, if you think in your minds, no, let us not talk to them. Chifukwa, if we talk to them, 2026 was bwana bazachicho sapo. If you think like that, then you're not serving this country. You're not serving this city. You're not serving the city, mate. The city comes first. Are you hearing that? The city comes first. The functionality of Lusaka City comes first. Everything else will fall into place if you do that. Okay, I gotta go. Thanks for watching. God bless.